Aloha family, Spencer-Mack here. Today I'd like to talk story about talking story. See, we have normalized in this country, speaking of the United States in particular, the use of all sorts of drugs, primarily alcohol is the one I'm thinking of. We've normalized being on medication for psychological disorders. We've normalized resorting to drugs, to food, more so than we've normalized reaching out for help, for actively pursuing therapy, for going to a therapist. You know, we talk about people who are seeing therapists who are like, he's crazy. But other people who are choosing not to see therapists are addicted to alcohol, or addicted to food, a whole variety of other outlets that they're trying to soothe their emotional and mental turmoil. See, our schooling system develops our logical mind, the memory, past, future thinking, and logarithmic thinking, but it does not prepare us for how to deal with our emotional, mental bodies, how we deal with our feelings. How do we process our traumas, our stories? And it's these feelings that shape our character, that drive our action, that make us who we are. We need to make calling a friend, calling your mom, hitting me up on YouTube, hitting your friend up, normal. Because it's by talking, it's by sharing that we learn. When we get to express ourselves, we really get to listen to our own story as we have to define it and share it with somebody else. And that gains us insight and clarity. And through that, we digest and integrate our story. We can gain insight from other people and new ways to perceive our story that may be more empowering than how we're perceiving it now. I was looking at statistics on, I had heard worse before, but in college, anywhere from 25 to 50% of college students are on antidepressants. Now those things can seriously fuck with the chemistry of your brain. It's not a way to solve the problem. Neither is alcoholism, which is extremely popular. These are Band-Aids that are going over a wound that hasn't even been cleaned. It's going to fester, it's going to get worse, and it's going to show up in other ailments. So I know this isn't like a cool hip topic, but we have to cultivate the type of personality that is okay to reach out to other people, to ask for help. It's okay to express all of our troubles and woes, even though it's not cool. It's not an interesting story. There are people out there who are just really good friends, who have the skill to listen and hold space for an individual. My girlfriend in particular, she had a crazy childhood. And she was fortunate enough that her parents paid for years of therapy for her. And she's fortunate enough that she has the personality that was willing to go to therapy regularly. And because of that, she's become a therapist. Now that's kind of the space she holds for all of her friends. She's one who can hold space and listen, ask the right questions, and just be a loving, supportive presence. That's what we need. We don't need a drug to try to change the chemistry of our brain. You know, there's so many variables, your diet, your environment, your relationships, that we need to look at when we're trying to heal a human. And this robotic Western psychology that tries to just manipulate the chemistry in the brain is completely ignorant and dissected and separate from nature. We have to cultivate connection to our emotional bodies, to our hearts, and develop the connection between our left and right hemispheres so that we can logically express the feelings that we're having. That's something I'm really realizing the validity, the importance of connecting these two halves of ourselves, this logical past, present, future mindset and the feeling present moment mindset, the creative, the feminine. When we can connect these two minds and we can use our logical brain to express the feelings that we have in this moment, we can speak our truth. We can express how we feel. And that's where art comes from. That's where insight comes from. That's where balance and union within ourselves happens. So that's part of my focus as I speak about the holy stoke, or obtaining the holy flow, or getting in the zone. It's the marriage of these two halves of each other, of ourselves, to be able to fluently express our feeling bodies, to be able to honestly express how we feel right now. So I really just want to iterate that, the importance of that. Like, I commend you if you have the courage to seek out therapy, to pick up the phone and call a friend. It does them an honor. People are honored to be able to help. And if you find you're not getting help, try somebody else. There are good people out there, and you'll cultivate deeper relationships because of that. So that's the idea. Let's normalize therapy. Let's normalize the expression of our emotional bodies and the study of how to express our emotional bodies, how to heal, how to feel our emotional bodies. I love that saying. Feeling is healing. The process of just feeling our feelings is like a form of digestion. When you're feeling, you're like eating and receiving this energy, and that's how you integrate and process it. When it's a bad feeling, you want to get out. You're drinking alcohol, you're having sex, you're doing drugs, whatever it is. And that only numbs and holds back the feeling. It's still sitting in your field where all of your feelings are. It's still there, and it's only going to grow until you decide to digest it. So understand, when you take the courageous step to sit in your feelings, especially if you can then use your logical mind to define, like, how does this feel? What does that feel like? Then we process, we absorb, and we transmute. Just like when we eat food, we take in a sustenance of sorts, an energy, and our body can digest it and transmute it into something useful. Our emotional body works the same way. So even though it feels really uncomfortable to quit drinking alcohol, to stop smoking weed all the time, and to sit in those feelings, you're going to upgrade because of it. You're going to integrate and cultivate your knowledge of self, your sense of self, your emotional stability, your empathy. Because the deeper you've gone into your own feelings, the more potently you can hold space for other individuals. The deeper you've explored your own mind and body, the more potently you can hold space for other people. So that's the idea. Feel. Get good at feeling. You want to feel good? Get good at feeling. Contemplate that one. Write that one down. Mastery over the awareness of our sensory, emotional, mental bodies. Awesome, guys. So it's sweet, straight to the point. Therapy is cool. I've studied so many different broad perceptions of therapy. You know, there's this perception like you have to go back in time into your childhood to understand the story that you're in. There's this perception that you don't have to. It's a present moment allowing to learn to be present, to let go of these old patterns. You don't necessarily have to understand them. I actually fall in line with that. I don't feel we have to go back and react all of these old feelings. They may come up at a specific time in our lives, and we always just need to be open and allowing to receiving what's coming in. That's how we process them. That's how we digest them. So just, no matter what your perception is, don't try to block the thing out. Granted, if you've let years of feelings build up, you're gonna wanna gradually turn up the tap, gradually let more and more in, you know? Develop the skill and the fire, because it's a type of digestion. You have to develop that fire of presence to sit with that emotion, that watery emotion, to be able to transmute it into that steam, into that usable energy. So find the right dosage. Make it a regular practice, because if we stay consistent with our feeling practices, we don't end up with this whole field full of shit that is very uncomfortable, that is putting pressure on us, that's suffocating our ability to enjoy our life and to express ourselves. Practice it regularly. Cultivate an intimate relationship with your own feeling body. And the more that you feel, the faster you digest, the clearer your field becomes, the more sensitive you are, the more present you are. Soon, only feelings in your field are what's happening right now. And you are attuned to this moment, and you can act more intelligently with a clearer vision of what's happening right now, not being flooded by past regrets or future worries. Awesome, guys. That's the rant of the day. Hope you guys are doing great. I would love to hear your perception on your favorite form of therapy that helps liberate you from these emotional traumas. We all have traumas, and they are our keystones, like our keys to becoming a more powerful person. It's really our struggle that lies our greatest gift. Once we can unravel that, when we understand it, it becomes our strength. So we all have them. What is your favorite way that you learn to process these things so that you're not, starting addictive lifestyle habits, or, losing and damaging relationships because you can't have your own, you can't manage your own emotional traumas? We need to be open to sharing them openly, admitting our weaknesses, admitting our problems, and we will find those people who stay there with us and are willing to listen. And then you have a tight family where the communication is streamlined, and it's just beautiful. We're all there to scratch each other's backs. We're much stronger together. So open, express freely. If somebody isn't there to support you, it's not your fault, okay? You're just cleaning house and getting rid of weak relationships. You'll soon to find those people who are there to support you. So please share your own discoveries in the field of what helps you process your own trauma, your own trials. How do you keep your feeling body highly sensitive? How do you stay aware to the present moment? Love to hear it. Looking forward to it. As always, guys, really appreciate you guys. See you in the next one. Peace.